Welcome to Empowered Gardening. Today we're going to have fun by actually taking a container that has compacted soil and renewing the soil and putting food plants in. So, I planted this last year. Now, in Southern California, we have a lot of jade plants. This is a jade plant right next to me. It was in flower and it makes little babies. So I'm going to save this because a lot of people just start gardening with a plant like this. This is indestructible. Now, the other great thing is we have in here some dandelion, and I did a whole basically talk on that, so you'll hear that. Now, I'm going to dump this out. The reason that I put plastic underneath is just because it's easier for cleanup. But you can put it on the sidewalk if you want, or wherever you are. Now, you saw that that container had soil that was, not of the best texture, but it hasn't been rained on in a little while, so it's a little better than what I've been complaining about our clay soils, because this had originally been fine. Now, I don't want to fill up the entire container with soil, basically because soil to me is a commodity and the plants that I'm going to be putting into it don't need it. So you can see the root ball of this lettuce that was grown in a container. It doesn't actually, it's been in the container for almost 2 months and the root ball is not that big. So when I fill this up with organic material, it's sort of like doing lasagna gardening or other things where you put materials underneath that break down and then feed the plants. Because of the material that I'm putting in, it's not really going to feed the plant, but that is okay. So I'm filling this up, and what's wonderful about these materials is they're actually fairly strong, so they will take up space. You can use leaves, you can use whatever is in your native area. Don't feel that you have to use palm, but palms are native here. So I am going to add some soil amendments, and every type of plant has different types of soil mixes. You can go out and buy them, order them online. So this is what I would use if I was going to start growing cacti. Now, some cacti have edible parts, but I want to grow food plants. So what I'm going to suggest to you is you find out, I'm going to put some soil mixes underneath the video, and you can then decide what kind of plant you're going to grow. Now, I talked about well-drained soil. That is incredibly important. And I'm also going to add in my favorite, compost. So I'm putting all this in, and I am putting the compost in, and I'm going to mix it all around so that you know that it's actually fun to do this, and you can do it in other ways. Put a little in at a time, but I'm a person that doesn't mind getting dirty, so I have a tendency to put things all in once. Now, the other great thing that I have here is manure, so I add that in right into the soil mix. And I think with those amendments and the things underneath, I'll have the right amount. I want to make sure that the soil goes up to about an inch and a half, 2 inches from the top here. So we'll see you in a moment. Now this has all been amended. It has sand in it, it has compost, and it has manure. So it's all ready to be very productive for the plants. You see, I can have filled this all up. Now I'm going to kneel down here, and I am going to grab the plants that I have to move from one area of the garden to another, because you have to realize certain plants get burned out with very heavy sun. So I'm moving the lettuce into a more shady area, and it also will look very pretty. As you know, I'm always interested in how something looks if we also have other plants with it. So these are some chives. You know I like chives, and I think that that is going to look really nice. I'm going to leave these two chives, okay, on the edge here, and plant those in. And I'm going to plant another one that's on the other side. Now, as the lettuce, it's going to eventually have flowers and bolt up, and I will be able to leave the chives in here longer. And the other thing that I wanted to add here were some mint. And this is some mint that I grew from last year. It's good to keep mint in containers because it's a very successful plant. And when a very successful plant meets the outdoors, it'll move around. So unless you have a lot of space, I would suggest that you put mint in a pot. So I'm just taking the root ball, opening it up. You'll see that mint has a lot of runners. That's how it makes a lot of, takes over things. So that's a particular habit of a plant, so it's always good to learn a little bit. But listen, if you just take a plant, from the store or whatever, and put it in some soil, water it, give it some sun, you'll be fine. Now, when I move things around with my hands, obviously you can use a trowel, a spoon, something that you have available to you. Don't think that this is mandatory that you get dirty. All right, so I'm also going to move this one. And I'm planting this one here. So you'll see that this soil is pretty close to the top. But I'm going to water this all in, and this should be very happy. Remember, the lettuces are not going to be here the entire season. We are going to basically have them create seeds, so I have plenty for next year's crop. Or I'm going to plant some more in very deep shade. All right, so what is very important is well-drained soil, that you have some trace elements in it, and you also have enough nitrogen, and that comes from the manure, and then you have a little mini organic garden. Now, the other thing that I want to let you know today is we have to water these plants in. Water actually gets the roots, right, and the plant itself to be in sympathy.